Vigilantism will increase until the political, judicial, and corrupt police forces are removed. And this is not just in the United States, this is worldwide. I've been talking about this for a while, and I don't agree with vigilantism. I would rather see the justice be served, but we're not, unfortunately, seeing that across much of the world right now. So it's just a natural lead into vigilantism beginning, and I'm already seeing that. I'm going to show you that in this presentation. Now, some of you might remember the movie Death Wish with Charles Bronson, which made him very popular. It was a $3 million movie to produce, and $1 million of it was Charles Bronson's his salary. So he was a popular star at the time, but he really became super popular after Death Wish, and they made many Death Wish movies later after because it was very, very popular. The public was fed up with crime at the time. In New York, it was out of control. Chicago, as it is right now, out of control again. All right, so we have very corrupt political, judicial, and police forces right now throughout the world, and people are starting to take matters into their own hands. This is something that happens throughout history. So you can see the lead into this. I've been talking about this for quite some time, and I believe it's not going to happen everywhere. Of course, some communities do real good, which I will show you in the beginning of this video. There's a place in Texas, Butler County, Texas, that is unincorporated. Remember, in 1876, America became incorporated, and then many of the towns from that point on became incorporated, which made them seek value and profit over the people, right? So the people were, and still are in most places, through different taxes and so forth. Now, I live in Lake Tahoe, and at one point, they denuded Lake Tahoe and floated all the trees. They took it away from the primitive Indian tribes and so forth, which really were they primitive, or were they just, people that were, living off the land and, very spiritual, but for the most part, not always. Some were savages, absolutely. But for the most part, they were living off the land and, nomadic, and settlers came along, the U.S. government came along, and it's like, well, you don't own it, so we're going to own it. So we're going to drive you out and we're going to take over. So yeah, they cut down all the old growth that was here. They cut all the old growth from the Atlantic all the way across America. There's just a few places that are left in Northern California and Oregon. They have old growth, huge trees. But for the most part, America was covered with old growth and massive, massive trees at one point. So they denuded Lake Tahoe, floated the logs down the Tahoe River and into Reno, where they took them and put them into the silver mines. And silver was very, very huge back then. Of course, silver is coming back again, but there are other methods of, shoring up mines now. You don't have to use trees like they did back then. So fortunately, we're seeing Lake Tahoe. The trees are coming back. They're quite beautiful. At one point after the denuding process, a lot of very wealthy people came in here to Lake Tahoe and bought land and let the land start to recover. And eventually, those very wealthy people had to forfeit their land to the government, because the government started coming after the wealthy, like they're trying to do again. It's the same process we're seeing once again. So the wealthy people started losing their land through taxation. So they did the property tax on the wealthy. They used to not do property taxes on anyone other than the wealthy. And they started seizing all the wealthy land, and they started, having it for themselves and using that land and so forth, making parks out of it and Look what we have for you. You slaves of the state. So eventually that filtered down. So we have to watch what's going on. We're seeing the wealthy being driven out of Northern California and Sacramento, not Sacramento so much, but Seattle. The same process, communist process that was going on back in the late 1800s into the early 1900s is showing itself again. Right? It got pushed out, got stopped, and but eventually it came back, and now it's like just full blown all over the world. This crazy these crazy psychopaths that are running the world. So we're going to have to push back on it again, guys. And that's the process we're going to be going through, and we'll talk about that in this show. So we have a lot of the land that has been taken by the state, and the state just assumes that all the land is theirs, and if we're living on it, we have to pay tax. Everybody now. So again, you have to watch what happens to the people with large amounts of money, and they're the ones that create the jobs, and usually pay most of the taxes. But once they're tapped out and stolen from, to the point where they either leave the state and go somewhere else, or leave the country and go to another country, this is the process of destruction that America and the world is going through. All right, so let's the LA leak, definitely a WMD cover up. So there is some kind of leak that is going on down in Southern California, chemical leak. They're evacuating up to 40,000 people that I saw, but that's what somebody in the chat just put that out there. Property tax equals rent. Rent means you really do not own it. Exactly, Jesse. So we're gonna have to fight and get that back. All right. So there's already movements all around the country. Of course, we're having a big get together in Vegas. Juan O'Savin and a lot of other people, very high end people, are going to be at that event. So in the description box, there's the fraud event. You can go down, and there's still just a few spots left. If you can't make it, Juan just had on my show. He said on my show just the other day that they're going to stream it. So we'll probably have it for a lot of people. You're not going to get the great food. You're not going to get to meet the great people. You're not going to see the movie that they're going to show for us. So anyway, if you can make it. Looking forward to seeing a lot of you. Probably been following the show. Nina's going to be there. Scott McKay is going to be there, and a large host of other people. So it'll be fantastic. So this is the process that we are, getting together and working together, we the people, to overcome this incredibly corrupt political, judicial, and corrupt police forces, right? So not all of them, but most of them, unfortunately, right? And we're going to talk about all the things that President Trump is trying to do and is being blocked by this corrupt political system. Even though we voted for, like in President Trump's first tenure, we had the House, the Senate, and of course the White House, and all the executive. We didn't have the judicial that I know of, but we had the legislative. So judicial is more corrupt than ever. The Uniparty, the rhinos, we're trying to clear them out. We just did so with Thomas Massey, and several others, I believe, are getting ready to go away. But there's still too much corruption in there, guys. I don't know. Maybe there will be a massive, cleansing in the midterms. If we don't get that massive cleansing, or it goes the other way, America's dead, right? And the rest of the world, because only because of America, or do we see a little bit of a light around the world, but only a little, because we have to fix America. We're trying to fix the world simultaneously to a certain extent, but there's a lot of pushback. So let's look at some of the things. Let's look at Death Wish, the movie. with Charles Bronson. That came out in 1974. New York was, you know, gang-ridden, graffiti everywhere. You didn't see any of that get cleared up until the early 80s. Of course, President Trump now was involved in some of this, helping to turn this around. So this is basically, as you see right here, the movie, Charles Bronson. He's a conscientious objector at first, kind of like a Democrat, right? So, but during the Korean War, he was a medic. They like, well, you can be a conscientious objector, but you still got to go fight, right? So, or at least be on the battlefield. So he was a medic, and so he was helping those that were wounded, which is great. Now, during the Vietnam War was one of the first times that people ran and hid out in Canada. And, Canada, of course, is the home of one of the worst governments in the world, and the people have let it happen, right? So here in America, if it gets really bad, we go vigilante, right? And that's what happened because we still have Second Amendment rights. And Canada gave those up. They had them. They gave them up, right? And this happened just a few years ago. Same thing happened down in Australia, in New Zealand. So the people, you have to stand up for your rights. And if it gets to the point where, as we're going to look at this happening around the world, you're going to have to take matters into your own hands sometimes. All right. And again, I don't wish this. I've never wished this. I'm the man of the love vibration. It's very effective, but at some point, you have to have kinetic activity, right? That's just a state of the way the world is right now. All right, so Paul Kersey, middle-aged architect, lives in Manhattan with his wife, Joanna. Their adult daughter, Carol, and her husband, Jack Toby, live nearby. One day, Joanna and Carol are followed home from the grocery store by three muggers who invade the Kersey apartment. Discovering that the women only have $7, the goons severely beat and slash Joanna and sexually assault Carol before fleeing. At the hospital, Joanna dies so his wife dies from the injuries, and his daughter is so shaken that she ends up having to go into a mental institution, right? So a few days later, Paul's boss, Henry, sends him to Tucson, right? Tucson, where they had all the gunfights and all that stuff. So he's working with a guy, and guy teaches him how to shoot. He gets fascinated by the gun, the Colt 32 revolver, box of ammunition ends up in his luggage when he gets back home. So he goes out. I guess he went to the funeral of his wife, and he was leaving. He got mugged, and he somehow beat the attacker, and the mugger ran away. So he was kind of inspired by that, and he's like, well, why don't I take a gun? So he goes out and at night, and he gets mugged, and he shoots the mugger, right? And he shoots another mugger and another mugger, and he sees people that are being mugged, and he shoots their muggers. So there's like all this rash in New York City, all these people that are dying, and the police, get involved, and they're like, well, they kind of know who it is. They finally figure out who it is, and they're like, if we arrest him, he becomes, people are gonna look up to him and start copycatting. So maybe we just let this guy, we give him a warning and send him off. The warning doesn't quite work, so he ends up shooting three muggers were attacking him. He kills two of them. The other one, he ends up it's kind of like a little shootout with him, and he passes out because he got wounded. And the mugger runs away, and they find him, and they say, "Okay, we're taking your gun, and you got to leave New York." So he leaves New York, and his boss sends him to Chicago. And when he gets off the train in Chicago, he sees muggers, and he basically looks at the muggers. He notices them, and he basically looks at them, and he goes with his finger like that. So he's going to start doing it in Chicago too. All right. So it's definitely a pattern that happens, like I said, throughout time. governments are, overthrown, that are corrupt. If they've been corrupt for a long time and people aren't getting any resolutions, we've seen that, revolutions, civil wars, and so forth. I don't think we're going to see. I've always said that we're not going to see a civil war here in America, but I think we're going to see a massive pushback, on a lot of these criminal activities that we see that are going on. We know they're going on. We know our political class is extremely corrupt and not doing what we're, putting them in office to do. So we're going to talk about all that. I basically have I loaded up my X account. My X account is Michael Jaco 9. That's the 9th time that I started an account. All right, with X, all of the other ones were stopped, and I couldn't make any more. Now, in YouTube, I had up to 17. The one that I have right now is one of the last one. How about that? It's the 17th. They let me have it back. Wow. And it's rapidly growing in subscribers, not as fast as it had in the past. So obviously there's suppression. Same thing with X. Those criminal people that have their other ideals, very liberal, that don't like us conservatives, that are the ones that are basically going to save our country. Even though the liberals are fighting us all the way, but we're used to that. I'm used to that, so it's not a big deal. We win in the long term, and we're gonna see this country get turned around. We're gonna see the world get turned around. It's a pattern, and we're in the pattern of change. This time, I think it goes to a level that's never been seen before, as far as our reaching a new level. So here it is, Michael Jaco 9. All right, so great citizens arrest, wink, wink, as the good sheriff describes. Works if you have good sheriffs and deputies. Bravo. All right, so the caption is, the idiot running out of the store just stole a purse from an 83-year-old woman, a lady. Watch him take a nasty beating. I don't know, that young man looks like he's got a Letterman jacket. So, he ran that guy down, and he's gave him a little whoop ass. It's good to see. All right, so eventually the police arrive and arrest this man. See this guy right here, get the purse, bringing it back to the 83-year-old woman. He's like saying, thank you. And so this other woman runs up. I don't know what that is about, but he stops the beating process, and the guy tries to run away, and he basically stops him.
Everybody in that store. He came out the store because you were chasing him and you were on him. Yeah. And he was running as fast as he could. Yeah, and he's probably never ran that fast in his life. No. And he's probably not appreciated the police showing up that quick in his life, which we didn't get there real quick, winky wink. You took and made what we call a citizen's arrest. And
wink, wink, you made what we're going to call a citizen's arrest. Now imagine that happening, and we've seen this in New York, where that one former Marine basically choked that guy out over and over again because he kept getting up and attacking everybody. So eventually choked him to the point where unfortunately he died. And he's the one that went to court, and a lot of people got behind him, supported him. Eventually he got off. But New York tried to throw him in jail for a long time for murder, for being a vigilante. But as you see here, this young man basically did that, and he had a good sheriff, and deputies that are in that town. Again, it's an unincorporated town in Texas. Texas, don't mess with Texas. Although they have really, really messed with Texas, and I think Texans have been and will start to get even more involved in, I won't call it vigilantism, because vigilantism is basically against a system that doesn't support you. But when you see citizens, good, law-abiding, honest, high-integrity citizens that are basically have had enough, and they're, we need to help. We need to help stop this. If they have corrupt sheriffs, then they're going to be a vigilante. If they have good sheriffs, then they're going to be citizen arresting. All right, that this is the way it's going to work, guys. And then the good guy is going to show up and take over. So you got to be aware of your police, your sheriff, if they're corrupt, and the judicial system's corrupt. If you do the good deed, you could end up in jail. Now we're seeing a lot of people that are pedos and so forth that are really, really horrific. People that are killing relatives and so forth, and they're getting off. They're disappearing or they're getting shot, and we're going to look into that. All right. So this is a natural recourse. This is a natural outcome of corrupt systems. You're going to see the people start to get involved more aggressively, and that's only natural. You have to, or otherwise you're going to be snuffed out. Your city, your children, your wives, girlfriends, whatever, are not going to survive, right? Are going to be like the Charles Bronson scene. They're going to be raped, die from it, are massively traumatized by it. So we have to stand up as men and women sometimes, of course. When I saw another video where a woman stopped her car and started to help a female police officer that was having a tough time with a man, and she got in and jumped on and started choking him and so forth, wrestling with him, and that way, because he eventually got on top of the police officer, and because she helped her, a good citizen, then the police officer was able to get up and respond again, and between the two of them, they got control of this guy, and then the men showed up, and help doesn't necessarily have to be men, but obviously, but the boys showed up and they got control of this guy, and he's off to jail. So these are the things that we're going to start to see more and more of. Citizens get more active, proactive, and involved. So hats off to this young gentleman. They gave him a plaque.
And you make us very, very proud. Everybody, just not here, but everybody in the country, man. Yeah. And we're proud of you,
Absolutely.
and I mean that. And thank you for what you've done.
So hold on to that right there, and they can get you a little picture of that.
Come right on over
Proud
there,
of you, man.
You guys are right in there. Is that a picture?
And it looked like he wiped off a tear. That's good. That's good stuff right there. That's what we need. We need more of that, and we're going to get more of that. So again, Butler, Freestone County, Texas, it's almost equal white and blacks, right? A little bit more whites, but they're obviously working well together. Males, 49%, females, 50%. So it is, Hispanic, 3.8%. So that's just pretty much, black and white town, and they're getting along good. Of course, Obama probably would have a problem with that and trying to break that up and make it a problem, but that is not what's happening there. So that's good. We need to see more of that in America, and I think we're going to. So President Trump post, this is from Julie Donuts. So many people just don't get it. Why does he post these things? He's removing the deep state players in these countries and securing deals for our national security, securing the Middle East. This brings world peace. So he's doing it all at once. This is monumental. You can't just do it in one country. It has to be worldwide. I think there are, I don't think, there's obviously elements of the good in each of the countries that are working with the United States. So, he's joking around here, or maybe not. He's got Iran as, part of the United States there. And he's looking at Greenland. It's like, hello, Greenland. All right. So it has to go this way. Now, repeat around the world where Islam is encroaching or be consumed by it. So this is Japan's new anti-Islamic laws, and they're sparking controversy, of course, among the liberals and the people that are deep state puppets. All right, halal is prohibited, mosque prohibited, call to prayer prohibited, and that needs to happen around the world, unfortunately, but that's the way it is. So here's amazing footage from Iran right now. This was 9 hours ago. Crowds cheering as the regime crumbles. Right now in Iran, massive crowds are pouring into the streets, honking car horns, waving flags, and openly celebrating. The time to strike is now, I say. So, I posted last night that it looked like President Trump was, it didn't look like. He was definitely not going to his son's wedding in the Caribbean, and he was rushing back to the White House. So something's up. All right, this is Tommy Tuberville. Let's listen to what he has to say.
You got to play hardball. We've got several people that it's not going to vote for filibuster, or they'll probably vote for some of the Democrat amendments. You say, listen, you do that, you're out as chairman of a committee. You're out, immediately out. We're going to put somebody else in, because that's the reason people stay here, is to have power. But we do it because of seniority. We don't do it because of merit. We don't have the best people in some of these chairmanships. So we got to do the right thing. It starts at leadership. We're going to go in, I'm going to listen to it. And if we don't make changes, we go and try to beg people to do things. It doesn't work. Put your feet to the fire. Let's go to work, and let's work with President. You got to.
All right. So, you got some really good leaders in the Congress and the Senate right now, or we do. And I think they're, around the world. You have a lot of people, I say up to 95%, maybe more, of Congress and the Senate, our political people, need to be removed. Right? There are people ready to move up, guys. Like we saw against Thomas Massey in Kentucky. One of my old teammates, former SEAL Team 6 officer, and like I've said before, really fantastic guy, big, strapping country boy, has a farm in Kentucky. It's been there for I think several generations. He got out of the SEAL teams after 20 years as captain, which is very high up there, probably close to admiral, but decided to go back home and work the family farm. And then he saw the corruption that was happening in Kentucky. Boy, Kentucky's got a lot of corruption. It seems like everybody in the political office is corrupt there. So he's basically like me. He got involved. So he ran for office, and looks like he's hopefully, because primary is just you get in position to be voted into office. And I think the people of Kentucky are tired of it too, guys. I think they're going to vote him in. So he's a fighter. He's a warrior. We got to have that going forward. And there are people ready to step up to do this. I mean, if I had to do it, because I know it's a den of thieves and snakes, I would move up. And if I knew that I was going to have some kind of impact, I would get involved. All right, seems like a lot of my friends are. So why not? All right, Gunther Eagleman. Just in case you forgot why you have a 3-day weekend, this is it. Not the barbecues, not the beach trips, not the sales. This is the reason. The folded flag, the final salute, the ultimate sacrifice, so the rest of us could be free. Now, we cannot depend on the military coming in and cleaning up all of our cities and towns and counties, guys. We have to get involved. And again, I don't agree with vigilantism, but it could be one of the remedies. And if you have a good sheriff and deputies and so forth, constitutional sheriff, you can make some great inroads. And I think a lot of probably counties, not a lot, but a few counties out there are, good to go. And maybe they can help the other counties that have some problems. All right. So we'll see. We'll see how this works out. And it's going to work out. It's going to work out one way or the other. All right. This is Scott Pressler is officially planning to primary challenge Senate Leader John Thune. Unfortunately, it's not in the midterms. I think that Scott Pressler, who helped get President Trump elected, through his actions, going around and getting out the vote and getting people involved, I believe that he would have a very, very strong shot at replacing John Thune, who's obviously a rhino, right? And my wife said that rhinos are basically a Republican and a Democrat get together, have a baby, and that baby is a rhino, right? So it's a uniparty type stuff. So I think that Scott's going to play hardball. And if he does, John Thune's gone, right? But not gone soon enough. And so something might happen before then, right? And I don't know what that is, some kind of constitutional movement where we start to remove these incredibly non-performing, anti-American leadership in our political class, right? So here's another Republican candidate in Texas, Valentina Gomez, is under fire for her comments about Islam. Under fire from who? From whom, right? Is she wrong, though? Islam is the religion of rape, incest, and pedophilia, where they bow down to a stupid rock and a false prophet. Now, there's some strong words, obviously, but she is a woman, and she is a great shot. All right, I've seen her with weapons, so I applaud her. We need to get tough. We have to have tough talk, guys. We need to do away with Islam in our country, right? We need to, say that if it's Islam, it's not politically. We don't accept it. We don't allow it in our country because they're going to take over unless we do. All right, so this is Mary Talley Bowden, MD. Excited for some positive changes coming to Texas. Vote today. So this was the last day of early voting, I think, or one of the last days. Next time people get to vote in Texas will be, a few days where they have to vote in person. Looks like I think this is the best list for Texans. All these guys right here are Second Amendment, right? Ken Paxton, John Bonk, U.S. Congress, Chip Roy, and then, I don't recognize all these people, but, the little bit that I've looked into them, this is a good pick for Texas and Texans, right? So we have, a political class in Texas that are rhinos. Abbott, pretty much Cornyn. A lot of these people are, and John Cornyn basically voted against the Second Amendment, right? Rights, not against it completely, but the rights, right? So here's another one. This is where I'm seeing that vigilantism is about ready to explode, right? So I'm like, oh boy, you effed around and pissed off the Irish. You fighting Irish. Once they get going, look out. So my words are vigilantism until the political, judicial, and corrupt police forces are removed and replaced with merit-based leaders. So this is an armed group declaring themselves as the New Republican Movement have issued a warning to Irish politicians. You have flooded our communities with military-aged men. Let me see if I can play this.
To the people of Newry, Mourne and Down, we, the New Republican Movement, have watched their councillors and MLAs over the past 12 months. The level of disrespect shown to the people who put you into power, this cannot be ignored any longer. We are proud men of Ireland. We are patriots. Your policies and decision-making in regards to flooding our communities with undocumented military-aged men is not acceptable. We will not sit back any longer and watch our culture and religion destroyed by the people we put in power. Also, the sexual indoctrination of our children in schools has not went unnoticed either. The New Republican Movement will take immediate action against anyone who threatens our ways of life and the safety of our women and children. We have your addresses and known your movements. Every one of you are legitimate targets as of today. The New Republican Movement, 28/11/25.
All right, so it's starting, guys. And again, here's another one. A Muslim man who tried to rape a 14-year-old girl in Manchester named Muhammad Ayez, originally from Pakistan, has been found dead just before he was due to be sentenced for his crime. He was caught by a child protection trap group. Right, so it's starting around the world. It is on. Outrage is erupting nationwide after an Iranian IRGC-trained Islamist planned to assassinate Ivanka Trump, daughter of the president, at her Florida home. FAFO could be arriving sooner than we anticipated. Islamists are scum. The trained Iraqi national who was taken into custody last week allegedly made a pledge to kill Ivanka and made a blueprint of her Florida home. This was in response to the killing of Iranian military chief Qasem Soleimani. So Soleimani is an Iranian, was definitely a past tense because he was blown to pieces, all right, by President Trump in a strike, or ordered by President. He didn't actually do it, but he gave that order for it to happen. So Soleimani, when I was there in Iraq in the early 2000s, 2003, 2002, 2003, he was the guy that was basically started the IEDs, improvised explosive devices that were set up along roads, and for years killed American service members and maimed many more, lost limbs and so forth. So not only did he kill many American soldiers and wound many more, but he also killed his own, or not his, but Muslims, because if you're anywhere around someone that needs to die and you die, then that's all his will. That's their thinking. That's their corrupted, disgusting thinking, right? I drove by, how I use my remote viewing and intuition to basically hold up my teams before we went out, because I knew there were attacks were coming. We would hear the blast happen. Short period of time would go by. They would clear the road, make sure there's no more IEDs, and then we were allowed to roll. I remember several times, unfortunately, driving by military vehicles that were burning, and unfortunately, the soldiers were still inside. I remember driving by cars where local Iraqis with their whole families, the father, the mother, the children in the back seat, were all in death throes, having been burned to death. And I got to see all that. So I'm not a fan of Islam, guys. I've been saying that for a long time. There are good people. Probably most of the people, probably not 95% of the people are good, but they are controlled by a very, very psychopathic group, just like us in the United States. Right? So, we have to clean these out. We have to clean this out. So it's not a good time. All right. So this is California. I say needs an enema. It's full of violent shitbags. Right. So this is a gentleman. I think he's a elderly, 60s. He had MAGA paraphernalia on his home, and big supporter of Donald Trump in California. And his neighbor basically beat him to the point where he's probably going to die. So say prayers for this guy. I'm going to warn you, because I want you to see this impact, right? I've seen a lot worse. But if you want to turn right now, this is the time to do it. But if you look at this, then you're going to get pretty pissed. All right, this is 69-year-old Army veteran from Escondido, California. That's right at San Diego, where he spent a lot of time as a Navy SEAL. Is on life support after being brutally beaten by his 32-year-old neighbor, Thomas Caleb Butler, because he is a Trump supporter with a MAGA-inspired house. All right. So very sad. All right. So this is the what's happening with our political class while that's going on. That's going on because of political class, obviously, in California. But watch a little bit of this. I posted a lot of these. Let's see what Tim Burchett, who I think is of all of the senators and congressmen that are there, he's probably going to be one of the ones that survives the cleansing, right? The purge that's coming of our political class. And I hope that he rises to a very high level, because he is definitely leadership material at the merit-based leadership material that should be at the very top.
Mr. Chairman, could I say something at this point, or do I need to wait?
Yeah, you can go ahead. I'll yield to you.
Okay. I realize what's going on here, and I realize that, you know, when you're not sitting at the table, that you're not heard, and I realize the deal has already been cut. But I want to warn our party. You know, we're in the majority, and we're not acting like it. We'll be in the minority once again because of this kind of activity. And I'm disgusted that both sides of the aisle, that we're not allowed to, deals have been cut. And I think that's wrong. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
So basically, you know, there's a lot of stuff in these bills that shouldn't be passed. But like he's saying right there, there are backroom deals that were already cut before they even got the vote, and they're going to push this stuff through. That's not good for the American public, right? So there's a lot of people that are pissed off. Switzerland has banned the niqab and burqa and refuses to recognize Islam as an official religion. Should other countries follow Switzerland's lead? I say every country that is not Islamic must ban Islam as an official religion. United States, hello, all right? So here it is. When 95% or more of the political uniparty is eliminated, Tim Burchett will be one of those left standing. All right, so here's some more. I'm going to play just a little bit of this.
Everybody, Tim Burchett.
So this is after he basically got up and walked away from the, you know, congressional room there, where they're not being allowed. The majority of Republicans, many of them, like we've been saying, Mike Johnson being one of them, is Rhino. Mike Johnson from Louisiana. So, you know, we saw one Louisianian, if I'm saying that correct, that was stripped, and he's going to go away, but he just recently voted against President Trump. Of course, this is what rhinos do. So, you know, if we want to, Tim Burchett's amendments to the Build America 250 Act were all killed on Democrat objection. Republicans control the House on paper. Democrats control it in practice. This is only possible if Republicans side with them, rhinos. So this is a problem. So here he is after, you know, walking out, and he's calm and cool, but he's frustrated. You can tell.
It's after 1 o'clock. We're leaving Transportation Committee. I was here Monday and Tuesday, and we didn't do anything. And here it is. What is it? Thursday night, Friday morning. Monday and Tuesday, we didn't meet at all.
All right. So John Thune, who is the Senate leader, has sent them all home for 12 days. So we have judicial judges, dozens and dozens of them that have been waiting to be approved, that President Trump has put forward, and they're not approving them. Our Republican Senate and Congress is not approving them. So John Thune basically just sent everybody home for 12 days, and every couple of days he's going to have one shitbag Republican come in and open the floor so that President Trump can't come in and basically push them through himself. This is insane, guys. Our political class has to be removed.
And we get dropped a 1,000-page bill. When did they drop it on us?
This weekend, Saturday, Sunday.
And then Chairman Graves, who's a Republican, voted against. It looked like a majority of the Republican amendments, and most of them died. And they were all pretty good, doing away with those crazy traffic cameras. And they're just, all they are is revenue cameras. And wouldn't vote with us on that. And of course, they're in the bill. And it's just, it's got a lot in it. I'll get another bite at the apple, I guess, on the floor, but it's, the wheels are greased on this and the lobbyists are all jacked up on it. So anyway, it's just what they do to you. We should know better being in the majority, but we're not. It's just, that's what happens in these committees, folks. Every time we just get rolled, and they cut the deal a long time ago before any of us have access to it.
So they cut the deal long before any of them have access to it, so their votes don't count. So this is the scope. Now, the right scope of things, Elon Musk backs billionaire Warren Buffett's famous plan to eliminate the deficit in 5 minutes. You just passed a law that says anytime there is a deficit of more than 3% of GDP, all sitting members of Congress are ineligible. Not that they're going to be voted out. They are ineligible for re-election. So now, here's an example. Let me pause this. I don't want you to see too much of this before I talk about it. So this is kind of the way things are going to start to move. Well, obviously it's already moving that direction. I say we don't need an army. We need more men, capital letters, every letter, that are tired of the BS, capital letters, BS. We're tired of it and are ready to push back what we have been putting up with for far too long. So we've been putting up with this for a long time, guys. Like that young man, 69-year-old that was beaten close to death who could possibly die. Young man, I said, because he's 69, I'm like 65, so he's probably still a young man. I don't know how this young whippersnapper got the jump on him, but anyway, that's very tragic. So we have to stop this. Imagine a dozen or more men like this. Imagine I put together some hard, heavy-hitting mofos, and we go out there and start to clean house. Some of this bullshit happens. Just go out there, peacefully protest, and they start this kind of bullshit, get physical with us, and then it's game on. So watch this. This is amazing. Now this guy is going to continually push on this guy. He's physically interacting with him, which is an assault. All right. So you legally have the right to protect yourself from that point on. If someone is attacking you, which is this person is, and then as you're going to see, there's more people that attack him. So he's basically defending himself. Right. And this happens over and over again. All right, come on. Get going. So it looks like just one patriot out there amongst a bunch of jackals, liberal jackals. All right, so as you guys can see, he's being chased around. These guys have got their horns right in his face, pushing it right into him. This guy's pushing him away. He's walking away over and over again. And then it's like, all right, it's time to defend my. All right. A lot of night going on there. So that's where things are going, guys. Right. So we're not going to put up with this bullshit much longer. We're going to have a lot of guys, heavy hitting boys out there like myself and others. They're going to start to punish these fucks. Right. So it's going to start happening. All right. So this is the way it is right now. It's the rhinos. Right. We've just discussed them. Tim Burchett, very frustrated. We have to help the good guys. All right. Maui got burned to the ground and Congress did nothing. North Carolina got flooded by a hurricane and Congress did nothing. Florida got hit by Category 4 Hurricane Helene, which I was there to receive that. A lot of you guys saw the place I was living in, and it was devastated. We lost well over $50,000 and insurance because it was the way the flooding happened. They did not cover it. right? Geico, shame on you. All right, but this is the way it happened for a lot of people. A lot of people lost their homes all around us, all up and down the coast. So it's a racket. And of course, the Democrat control that was happening at the time when they came in to help us, we had for, I think it was 2 months, they didn't come and do trash service. We had, rats running around, all kind of crazy stuff. We put everything out on the curb, waiting for the trash service to come. They never came. So we, eventually just we paid thousands of dollars for a company to come and take it. Thankfully, somebody did. But most people didn't have that. So it took them a long time. And of course, FEMA, Federal Emergency Management Association, basically, if you were conservative, it was found out they would not help you, right? Which most Floridians are. So it was a shit show. It was a real shit show, guys. And this is part of, what we're up against. An illegal immigrant gang member gets deported and Congress is rushing to try to bring him back. Remember that gang member? What's a crazy, horrific gang that basically kills people and rapes young girls and then chops their heads off, all kind of crazy stuff. MS-13. So he was an MS-13 gang member. And then eventually when he was let back in, they got caught, transporting. That's probably why the Democrats want him back, because he was transporting a bunch of people around from one city to another. So he was moving people around to be part of voting, I guess. The Democrats are hell. They need to be removed, all of them. And then a lot of the Republicans as well. So Congress is the problem, guys. We're going to have to remove them. We're going to have to do something about it. All right, Jake Lang, who was J6 guy. I had him on several of my shows. While he was in prison, he could only talk for about 10 minutes, and then they would cut him off. So we'd come on my show and talk, and they cut him off, and then he'd get a little, I'd wait a little bit, and then he would come back on for another, a few minutes or 10 minutes or whatever, how much they let him. But, I supported him. I supported a lot of the J6ers, and a lot of you did. Thank you very much. That was very, very helpful. These guys were in desperate straits. A lot of these guys committed suicide. They lost their families. They lost everything. It's horrible. Again, Congress, right? So Congress, corrupt political, corrupt judicial, and corrupt police force, FBI, right? So now they're finding out the FBI planned J6 months and months ahead, right? So here's Jake Lang dropping truce bombs. He's saying every single word here is pure truth. Muslim and Indian invasion.
No one has ever looked across the plains of Texas and the football games and all the amazing cowboy culture and the raw American spirit here and said,
all right, I want you guys to look at these police officers here. Right? So they're looking on. Hopefully they're learning. Right? We, the people, are done. We, the people, are done with this bullshit.
And all the amazing cowboy culture and the raw American spirit here and said, let's replace this with Muslims. Let's replace this with Hindus. Texas should remain for Texans. Have you lost your mind selling your children's future? It is a replacement. It is not right. Just because it's happening to white people does not make it okay. You guys are complicit. This is the jellyfish generation, half boomer, half Gen X. You don't care about my children's children. You are selling out this country to people who do not want to live near you. They want to build their own separate, segregated zones where they practice their religion, their food, their way of dress, their language. They don't care about white culture. They don't care about American culture. They don't like you. They will replace you. What the fuck is wrong with you inviting these people into our country? This is a Christian country. Name one of the signers of the Declaration of Independence that's a Hindu or Muslim.
Thank you.
All right. So you see Jake Lang's got a body armor because he's had several attempts on his life. So we'll end it here. So this is where I was talking about last night. I came on. I was like, I gotta put some stuff out here because hopefully President Trump is about ready to strike Iran. So we'll see. I don't know. You're going to continue to drag this ridiculousness out, or are we going into Cuba? So one or both. Do them both. They're both easy. All right. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where this goes. But the days of us allowing this to continue, staying calm and cool, they're coming. They're about to come to an end, right? So I hope and I pray that justice starts to happen in our land and around the world, because if it doesn't, then we're going to take matters in our own hands. I've been saying this for a little while. I hope, I pray it doesn't happen. I hope and pray that real justice comes in and starts to take effect. We've been told it's going to happen. It's being delayed. Of course, we have Tina Peters that's getting out in about a week now. So that's a good move. We're moving in the right direction. I think the people of Colorado are going to start to step up and get rid of their corrupt government. Otherwise, they're going to get railroaded like Tina Peters. You think Tina Peters is an outlier? You think Jake Lang, when he was, he had an injury. He was in church, and then he was like, walking home on crutches or whatever, and the FBI came and surrounded him and took him away and threw him in jail, and he never got a trial, right? So it was only because of President Trump, pardoning all of the J6ers that he was able to get out. So we have some serious problems in our country, guys. We cannot let the Democrats take charge. Really, I believe anywhere, but definitely not in a major portion. But of course, we have rhinos that are basically Democrats anyway, right? Republican and Democrat, they got together and had a baby, and that was a rhino. So good job, my wife. She's got some clever things she says sometimes. All right, well, often, but it is fun. We can have fun. We can. Like I said, when I was in the service, in the SEAL teams, and in the CIA, we joked around a lot, and then we went out and kicked ass. All right. So this is a time that we all need to start to work together and step up. There shouldn't be any different, political parties. We're all American. We're not Democrats. We're not Republicans. We're not independents. We're American, right? Now, if you want to play, stupid, regardless of what, party you're with, then you're going to treat it as you're stupid, right? And that's going to happen going forward. All right, guys, lots of love. Stay in the love vibration, and we'll see you guys next time.